reporting the news live. Oh my God. What's up, everybody? I'm here a little bit early today, reporting the news live at V89. Boom morning, good yearning, and happy Weird Wednesday. Today we have 4 stories. The template for V89, casting the news, is to start with an international story, followed up by a national story, leading into a state story, and concluding with a local story. I try to add a variety, there's always going to be war, there's always going to be death. So how do we mix it in a little bit and add that public service broadcast dimension to this practice of casting the news? So I'm going to get a little variety, all right? Tune in, 89.7 Tallahassee. Thank you. I'm here a little early. These headphones go into the main broadcast system. Boom morning, good yearning, and happy Weird Wednesday. I'm Jam, reporting the news live here at V89. Randrianirina. Orange Washwelna. We got some Madagascar words up in here, you know what I mean? Mix it up a little bit. Get a little international, some words you ain't never heard before. A lot of people think of Madagascar. They think of that movie, I Like to Move It, Move It. Baby, the military coup up in Madagascar is telling the former president's administration to move it, move it. Let's get informed. It's time. Good morning. This is Jam for V89 News. In international news, Colonel Michael Randrianirina announced Tuesday that the armed forces were taking power in Madagascar, capping weeks of protest against Orange Washwelna and his government by mainly youth groups calling themselves Gen Z Madagascar. Randrianirina led a mutiny by soldiers that ousted President Orange Washwelna, said he expects to be sworn in as the country's new leader in the next few days. Randrianirina's claim that his authority to take over as president came from the country's highest court seemed to contradict his announcement Tuesday that the military council that was taking power had suspended the powers of that court. Former President Orange Washwelna said he had fled to a safe space out of fear for his life after the rebellion of Randrianirina's soldiers. He has rejected the military takeover as an illegal coup attempted by a rebel faction. Olufemi Taiwo, professor of Africana Studies at Cornell University, says, quote, Gen Zers in Madagascar have been on the streets of the country protesting the lack of essential services, especially water and electricity, and the negative impacts on their lives for almost a month, unquote, said Taiwo. Quote, this is a civil society uprising, and its resolution should not involve the military, unquote. Taiwo called for the African Union to condemn another coup that Africa does not need, adding that no country should recognize the new military leadership. In national news, Janet Dufek, a biomechanist and faculty member at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, has researched the mechanics of both walking and landing from jumps to identify ways of preventing injuries and improving physical performance. According to AP News, Dufek is now recommending backward walking, also known as retro walking or reverse walking, as a way to add variety to an exercise routine. Dufek said, quote, I see a lot of people in my neighborhood and they walk, and that's good, unquote. She said, quote, but they are still stressing the same elements of their structure over and over again. Walking backwards introduces an element of cross-training, a subtly different activity, unquote. Personal trainers and physical therapists alike are beginning to incorporate Dufek's findings into their regimens and recovery models. Quote, backward walking is very different than forward walking from a force perspective, from a movement pattern perspective, unquote, Dufek explained. Instead of landing heel first, quote, you strike the forefoot first, often quite gently, and often the heel does not contact the ground. This reduces the range of motion in knee joint, which allows for activity without stressing the knee joint, unquote, Dufek said. Backward walking also stretches the hamstring muscles, the group of muscles at the back of the thigh. Dufek is interested in finding out if it improves balance and reduces fall risks in older adults by activating more senses of the body. In state news, Orange County District 5 Commissioner Kelly Martinez Simrat has a proposal she said could potentially help the county preserve more natural land. According to Central Florida Public Media, the county could ask the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission to designate more local sites as bird sanctuaries or restricted hunting areas. Martinez Simrad said at Tuesday's commission meeting, quote, given that we are being preempted on the local level, I'm trying to use the state laws to help us, unquote. Martinez Simrad told her colleagues Tuesday. Commissioner Simrad's proposal comes in the wake of a new state law that restricts local government's planning powers, Senate Bill 180. Earlier this year, state regulators cited the law to stop Orange County from implementing its brand new comprehensive plan, Vision 2050. Staff spent nearly 10 years working on the plan, which state officials deemed, quote, null and void, unquote, under the new law. Recently, Orange County signed onto a lawsuit challenging SB 180, joining dozens of other cities and counties. Mayor Jerry Demings and fellow commissioners had previously promised they'd defend the country's home rule power. Mayor Jerry Demings gave staff the go-ahead Tuesday to conduct preliminary research on state-designated bird sanctuaries and restricted hunting areas, focusing on what has worked in other jurisdictions and the cost of enforcement for local governments. Although he didn't give a specific timeline, Demings said the board could likely revisit the matter, quote, sometime after the first of the year, unquote. And lastly, in local news, Leon County hosted a volunteer fire truck roundup over the weekend, featuring the county's 6 volunteer departments: Bradfordville, Cherries Capitola, Miccosukee, Lake Jackson, Lake Talquin, and Woodville. WCTV reports that hundreds gathered at Tom Brown Park for the annual Volunteer Fire Truck Roundup, held on Saturday, October 11th, to celebrate their Volunteer Firefighter of the Year, Carl Hook. Hook has served as a volunteer for 30 years, and in the past year alone, fought fires, responded to crashes, and even helped deliver a baby. Quote, we are neighbors helping neighbors, unquote, Hook said. Quote, I do this to serve people when they're at their worst, unquote. Hook said volunteers play a vital role by reducing response times and providing critical manpower during emergencies. He also added it's his honor to serve his community. All 6 volunteer fire departments were on site to share recruitment opportunities with attendees. The event also featured family-friendly activities, including face painting, bounce houses, giveaways, and more. That's all the news for this hour. I'm Jam, and you're listening to WVFS Tallahassee, the voice of Florida State. Yeah. And that's how we do it. We out. All right. Oh my God. Speaking of Weird Wednesday, have a good one, y'all. Stay informed. Know the stories around you. And don't forget to go boom.